Welcome back to the Principal Choice Podcast.
Whoa, Eric, you need to amp it up a little bit.
I mean, you're right, but you could be a little more soft about it, you know?
Oh.
Be like, hey, I like what you're saying, but amp it up.
Oh, okay.
Just some feedback for you, too.
No, I appreciate that. I want to make sure I'm really able to help you out.
Thank you.
Which is why we have brought Abbi Pickett here with us today to discuss constructive criticism.
Find your purpose, find your people, and find your place on the Principal Choice Podcast.
Welcome back to the Principal Choice Podcast, where we have Abbi Pickett joining us today, and we're going to be discussing constructive criticism, how to implement it, and the best way to kind of deliver that constructive criticism. Hi, and welcome, Abbi, to the Principal Choice Podcast. I'm so excited that you're here. We are going to be discussing constructive criticism. I know everybody has received constructive criticism at some point in their life from family, friends, managers, other associates, all of the above. When you get a piece of constructive criticism, how does that typically make you feel, and how do you navigate that criticism?
Well, when I first started in the corporate world, when I would get criticism, I automatically would want to shut down. Like, these people hate me. They want to fire me. Obviously, that's not the case. I feel like when you're receiving criticism, they want the best for you. They want you to succeed. That's why they're coming to you in the first place with this. So I now very much just try to, let's figure out what went wrong. How do I fix it? And how can I fix it going forward and implement it? I think it helps to have a growth mindset a lot, and not everyone needs to be teachable, I guess, is what I would say.
100%. Yeah, the mindset's the first thing.
Yes.
If you get past that, then usually it's able to be taken. Now, of course, there's always a line between constructive criticism and just like, hater talk, I guess is what we'll call it.
Being rude.
Being
yeah,
rude, or just like overly perfectionist on somebody else, which is a little dangerous territory. Yeah. But when was that moment for you when it clicked and it was, I'm no longer just defensive all the time. It's now, okay, maybe I should listen. Maybe I should take this in.
Honestly, probably when I had, like, my manager really came to me and was like, look, like, you do great work. Not you, but you're great too. Okay. But a previous manager kind of came to me and was like, you're a natural leader. Like, you do great work. And because he would maybe notice that I would get defensive when I would hear things, and just kind of like, oh, okay, well, and he kind of just came to me like, we want you to excel here. We want you to be better. And that's when I kind of switched to like, okay, the growth mindset. Like, I always need to be teachable. I don't know everything. And, I read a quote that said, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. And I try to just keep that, you know what I mean? Like, that should always, you never want to be the smartest person in the room. You always want to be teachable. You always want to be learning. And yeah, so I think when he really came to me and was like, hey, we're telling you this because like, I want you to be a leader and take this and run with it. So that's when I kind of switched to stop being so defensive and like, hey, they're not out to get me. They just want to help.
Absolutely. It is very hard to get out of that mindset. Yeah. Especially if you're an anxious person like myself.
Yes.
Queen of anxiety.
Yes.
Just give me my crown. And it can be really hard to kind of swallow that pill. But I think it is great that you had someone who guided you through that and kind of broke it down. And I think sometimes that explanation gives a little bit more and shows them, the person who's receiving the criticism, that you're trying to show how much you care.
Yes.
And how much you want them to grow and succeed.
Yeah.
Now, I know that can be a little tricky getting constructive criticism. What do you feel is the hardest part when you have to give constructive criticism?
Trying not to make somebody feel bad. Obviously, as a lead, I am always having to reach out to people on processes or whatever, coaching. That's kind of how I'd rather like to think of it, as a coaching rather than like, hey, I'm telling you what you're doing wrong. But I just try to meet people where they're at. And I like to understand how that person learns. Maybe you need me to type something up for you. Maybe you need me to screen share and show you what I'm talking about. I think that really matters, is learning that person's learning style and kind of connecting with them on that level. And hey, I noticed this was wrong. Just want to make sure you saw this update or this procedure, or, kind of, and also making sure you're giving them the tools to fix it, not just like, hey, you're doing this wrong and figure it out. It's, making sure you're giving them tools and like, hey, this is how we fix this. So I just don't ever want to make anyone feel stupid, or a lot of the times people will be like, I didn't, like they don't want to ask the question because they feel it's a silly question. I don't ever want anyone to feel like that. Because we all forget things. I forget silly things all the time. So I want everyone to always be comfortable.
That's a harder road to navigate when you're trying to figure out how to give that criticism,
Yes.
for sure, because there's such a ranging variety of how people take in criticism. Some people sugarcoat it all the way. Like, tell me I'm the best person ever, but hey, there's this little tiny thing you want to fix. Some people, it's just tell me exactly what it is. Don't sugarcoat it. Lay it on me.
Right.
And that, it's hard to gauge because some people will get offended if they are more of the just tell me exactly what it is and don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
And you start off with the whole, oh, you're doing, and they're just like, shut up. I know exactly what you're going to tell me now. Just get it over
What's
with.
wrong? Guess.
Yeah. What are some of the cues that you'll try to look for when you're working with someone new and you're trying to give them criticism, to know how to balance your approach?
Kind of relating back to their learning style, I try to just ask them simply, like, what works best for you? Does it help for you to have like a picture of something to look at? Do I need to type up something? Are you a desk procedure person? Like, there's just a lot of, I need to visually be showed. Like, if you are showing me something new, I would like you to walk me through it, talk me step by step, and then I'll probably have it from then on. Like, I won't have a problem with it, but I think, just relating back to how people learn and meeting them on their level and just kind of seeing what works for them. I mean, you really have to talk to someone, and that kind of goes with like building trust with somebody that you're giving criticism to. You can't really, it's hard to give criticism to a stranger. I mean, you kind of need to know them and know how they're going to receive it and kind of go from there. So that's a tricky one, but I feel like, you just need to get to know the person, I guess, and kind of see what works for them.
Absolutely. And I think you really hit the nail on the head with the trust, because I know it's very hard to hear criticism regardless of who it's from.
Right.
But I know I take it better from someone that I know and I trust more so than just any Joe Schmo off the street.
Right.
Even if it is good criticism and it's needed, it's very hard to kind of swallow that pill and swallow, I feel like, your ego in that instance, because I know it's very hard for me to do when it's something that feels like an attack on my character. And it's hard to separate the two. I'm obsessed with that trust. I'm like, yes, trust. Trust.
It's so true, because you don't want a stranger coming to you, or a higher up coming to you that you've never spoken to before, and they're like, hey, I noticed you did this wrong, and it's like, well, okay, like, you kind of the tail between your legs, you're embarrassed or ashamed, and obviously I'm sure that's not how it was meant, but it is very important to have like a trusted person that's you'll be able to relate to them,
Absolutely. So what was the moment let me rephrase. What was the piece of constructive criticism that you received that really kind of changed the trajectory of kind of your path and what you wanted?
That's a tough one. I think kind of going back to that manager who sat me down, and the moment that I kind of changed that mindset was like, letting me know, like, we want you to lead here. I want you to lead. I want you to excel. So it's like, I feel like that was kind of my moment of, okay, I need to like get it together. I need to be a leader. And I also don't need to be the smartest person in the room all the time. Like, as much as I would love to be, I need to always be willing to learn. And that's kind of a tough one. But yeah, I feel like that kind of leads back to that conversation I had with that one manager who really
a lot of light
pushed
bulbs.
me
to a lot of light bulbs in that combo. I love it when
Yeah.
that happens, though, when one conversation like that can really just change everything for you.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting how a lot of people can go back to that light bulb moment. There may be a perfect person out there who from the day they were born, they just were like, yes, constructive criticism. I love it. But that's, likely not the case. I know for me, it was in high school when I was in like an entrepreneurship academy, and we had like an internship that we had to do. And it was going pretty good, but we all get to senior year when it's like, the last 4 months, and you're like, get me out of here. I don't want to do anything. And I was getting into that rut, and they started giving constructive criticism to me about my performance and all of that stuff. And like in your situation, that manager identified, you're starting to get defensive. Let's stop that. That's exactly what that person did to me. And I was like, my brain had a reboot. I was like, oh my, I can't do that anymore because it's been called out. I didn't even realize it beforehand, but I can't be defensive now. I just have to listen, try to understand, take it in, and move on from there. Like you've talked about that manager that helped spark that light bulb, it's a two-way street. What were some things that you in your personal life or professional life helped get to that light bulb being flipped? Not just that manager, but what were you doing or going through that maybe made it a little easier?
I think just coming into the corporate world, I was not, I was doing odd jobs and stuff before that. But I think coming into the corporate world and just really wanting to start a career and wanting to be better. Like I've always known I wanted to lead. I love helping people. I love seeing somebody figure something out. Like I kind of, when he sat me down and told me that, I was kind of like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And I, eventually would like to be in management and go on to all of that. So I think that's kind of when it happened, I guess.
So your mindset before was probably more of like the getting by of like, hey, I'm just kind of living life and doing my thing.
I'm just here, I'm clocking in and I'm getting a paycheck and exactly. And then
it flipped to like getting ahead. Like I want to do these things. I want to be a leader. I want to help people.
Exactly. And then like you said, I really didn't even notice that I was being defensive until you're called out on it. And then you're kind of embarrassed because you're like, oh man, you're okay. If someone else is seeing it, then I am being defensive and I probably need to chill out. So I can definitely relate to that. It's not nice to see the ugly sides of yourself.
It's not. And I think that is the hardest part. Being a chronically anxious person as I am, I think I'm a little hyper aware of my surroundings. So I'm a little bit of a unique case where I know I'm being defensive or I know a wall's coming up or I'm having a reaction. And the difference is I have to kind of mentally speak myself down. I have to talk myself down saying, hey, this isn't a character issue. This is a simple issue that you need to take accountability on. And I think that is the hardest part, is realizing what taking accountability looks like in those situations. Because every situation is different. Sometimes it's saying, you're right, I did mess up. I want to be better. Let's move forward. Or sometimes it's like, I definitely hear what you're saying. I'm a little confused. Would you mind teaching me? And it's trying to break that down to see what that accountability kind of looks like. It's just really an interesting road to travel when you're trying to get that space. What would you suggest people do when they receive constructive criticism and they're starting to feel that defensiveness? What are the next steps? Like, you realize that you're getting defensive while receiving this criticism.
Yeah, just take a minute. Let's take a breath. That's kind of what I do now. There are plenty of times where we all hop on a call and a process changes, or it's like, okay, if I don't understand it, let me take a beat, let me try to understand, and then ask questions. I feel like that's the most important thing. If you're not understanding something, ask a question. Ask someone can show it to you, or can you explain this to me? I'm a big believer in that, and I do it all the time. So, what was the second part of your question? I'm sorry, I was too busy listening about the first part.
No, you're fine. You pretty much covered it with kind of the next steps, and I really do feel like you're right. Taking that moment and listening.
Yes, sorry, not to interrupt you. Active listening, that was the other thing that came into my head was, be an active listener and don't just listen to respond. It's very, very easy when you're getting criticism to shut down and immediately just be thinking about what you're going to say next. Like, no, this is why I did it, instead of just listening and, okay, like maybe they are right. Let me actually listen to what they're telling me and see if I'm wrong. So I think being an active listener is very helpful.
Definitely a key attribute to have when you're trying to first get the criticism and understand it. After that, when you've gotten the criticism, you've understood it, you've asked your questions, what are some things that you do to make sure you start to implement it?
I'm a huge note taker. I have sticky notes all over my desktop and on the desktop, so it's everywhere. But I mean, I make notes. I type up my own notes. I write things down. Very much a pen and paper person. I mean, just make sure you're implementing it in your work. And the person giving you criticism should be giving you an example or letting you know what needs to be corrected. So, that is also a tool that you can keep or use. But I mean, I'm just a big note person, and making sure that I'm paying attention to what I'm doing. Slowing down is probably a lot of the issue, I would say. And claims processing, I know, when people are, sometimes they're just moving too fast, and it's like, just slow down a little bit. You're going to be fine. So
I feel like that's true with a lot of the work, even outside of claims processing, any of that. Also with it too, definitely taking notes is great for some people. I think even asking to check in with that person too. That's a big one. That's one that I've definitely done because I just know how busy people are.
Yeah.
They give you some constructive criticism. You think you implemented it. And then 6 months later, are you sure?
Yeah.
It's always good to ask, just like you asked questions when you were trying to understand that criticism.
Yes.
Ask questions after. Did I implement it? Did it change? Did I improve? I think that's another thing to really focus on as well.
Absolutely. And I think that goes back kind of full circle in understanding your learning style too, because when you know what your learning style is and how you can really succeed, you know how to implement that constructive criticism. For you, it's note-taking, having extensive notes, writing things down. It helps with your memory. Some people need snips of examples.
Sure.
And if that's the case, those are the conversations to kind of really have going, hey, do I need to send you some snips in your email so you can save them to a special inbox and you can refer to them in your notes? Is this something that is going to be widely dispersed and we need to possibly look at the DLPs on that? Like, what are the other options? But I think it goes back full circle to that understanding the learning styles to know how to implement it the best. It really seems like that for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Dang, we talked about a lot.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, Abbi.
Oh my goodness, it's already been almost okay.
I
was
right?
so nervous.
Time flies when you're having a good conversation.
Having fun. No,
chatting it up.
You guys were really fun.
Thank you for joining us on this episode.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you jumping on. And
I'm so excited to be here. So I appreciate you guys letting me come and yap with you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Principal Choice Podcast. On today's episode, we were joined by Abbi Pickett, and we talked some about receiving constructive criticism, implementing it, and even how to give some constructive criticism.
It was very, very insightful.
Some would say constructive.
Oh, I see what you did there, sneaky little sneak. And please look below at the show notes for any additional information regarding this episode here. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Hey, you got it.
Oh,
Just take it as criticism for yourself. You even got it before me.
I got this. I got this. Check out the show notes below. We'd love to hear from you.
Find your purpose.
Find your people.
And find your place on the Principal Choice Podcast.